Hello and welcome to the DMcG Arts channel. Today the person of interest is Neil Armstrong. Neil Alden Armstrong was born on the 5th of August 1930 just outside of Ohio to parents Viola Louise and Stephen Koenig Armstrong. He had two younger siblings, a sister June and a brother Dean. The family moved around a lot when he was younger due to his father's employment as a government auditor. From the age of 2, his passion for flying began to take influence when his father took him to see the Cleveland air races. It was around the age of 5 that his first experience of flying in an airplane occurred, when his father took him up in a Ford Trimotor. During high school, he took flying lessons, and by the age of 16, he had earned himself a student flight certificate, going on to fly solo prior to obtaining a driver's license. At the age of 17, he began studying aeronautical engineering at Purdue University. His tuition was funded through the Holloway Plan, in which successful applicants committed 2 years of academic study, 2 years of flight training, 1 year of aviation service, and then the completion of their bachelor's degree taking a further 2 years. He was called up to the US Navy on the 26th of January 1949, becoming a midshipman on the 24th of February 1949. His flight training was conducted on a North American SNJ airplane, and by the 9th of September 1949 he had completed his first solo flight. He then advanced to complete his first aircraft carrier landing, a highly demanding and difficult feat. He continued his training, furthering his landing capabilities on another aircraft carrier. He received notification that he was a fully qualified naval aviator on the 16th of August 1950. His graduation ceremony was held on the 23rd of August 1950. Neil became the youngest officer to be assigned to VF-51, an all-jet squadron, making his debut flight in a Grumman F-9F Panther on the 5th of January 1951, also being promoted to ensign. 2 days later, he made his first jet landing on the USS Essex. On the 20th of June 1951, the USS Essex set sail for Korea, with VF-51 jets aboard to be used in the ground attack. His first action in the Korean War was protecting a reconnaissance plane over Songjin. 5 days later, he then flew armed reconnaissance over primary targets that contained transportation and storage facilities. On one such occasion, 2 meters of Armstrong's wing was ripped off after he flew low, hitting a booby-trap cable that had been stretched across the hills. He managed to make it out of enemy territory, but due to the loss of the hinge flight control, ejection was his only safe option out of the plane. He intended to parachute over and into water, but was blown back onto land. He was then collected by a roommate from flight school. In total, he flew 78 missions in Korea, receiving the Air Medal, 2 Gold Stars, the Korean Service Medal and Engagement Star, the National Defense Service Medal and the United Nations Korea Medal. Later he served on the United States Navy Reserve for 8 years, before resigning on the 21st of October 1960. After his naval service, he returned to Purdue University, graduating with a bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering. It was here that he would meet his future wife, Janet Elizabeth Sharon, a home economics major. They were married on the 20th of January 1956. He would then go on to become an experimental research test pilot, making his first test flight for the Lewis Flight Propulsion Lab in Cleveland on the 1st of March 1955. Armstrong piloted chase planes and also flew modified bombers. He served as a project pilot on the Century Series fighters such as the North American F-100 Super Sabre NC models, the McDonnell F-101 Voodoo, the Lockheed F-104 Starfighter, the Republic F-105 Thunder Chief, and the Convair F-106 Delta Dart. He also piloted planes like the Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star, the Douglas DC-3, the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, the North American F-86 Sabre, the Douglas F-5D-1 Skylancer, the Boeing B-47 Stratojet, the Boeing B-29 Superfortress, and the Boeing KC-135 Stratotanker, totaling over 200 different aircraft throughout his career. He would then go on to test flight rocket-powered aircraft such as the Bell X-1B and the North American X-15. His employment with NASA began on the 1st of October 1958. With the X-15, he made 7 flights, reaching a top speed of Mach 5.74, clocking a total of 2,400 flying hours. He then tested the T-33 at the Smith Ranch Dry Lake for the use in an emergency landing site for the X-15, and he also tested Delamar Dry Lake in an F-104. In June 1958, his astronaut career began, whenever he was selected for the US Air Force's Man in Space Soonest program, which later became Project Mercury. It was through Project Gemini that civilian test pilots could apply, and so he applied on the 4th of June. He would be selected as the first civilian astronaut. On the 8th of February 1965, he became commander of the Gemini 5 backup crew. The mission's purpose was to practice space rendezvous and to develop equipment and procedures for a 7-day space flight. He worked on through to Gemini 8, becoming the first civilian in space, following on to further Gemini missions. It was on the 27th of January that the Apollo program began, of which he and 17 other astronauts had been selected to fly lunar missions. He was named the backup crew for Apollo 9. For crewmates, Armstrong was assigned Lovell and Aldrin from Gemini 12. Apollo 8 and 9 would then swap prime and backup crews, with Armstrong also rotating to command of Apollo 11. He was almost killed when testing a lunar landing training vehicle, when its controls malfunctioned and it began tumbling out of order. He managed to eject just in time. Incredibly, the only injury he sustained was to his tongue after biting it. On December 23, 1968, Apollo 8 orbited the Moon. This is when Armstrong was offered the position of commander for Apollo 11, with his crew consisting of Lunar Module pilot Buzz Aldrin and Command Module pilot Michael Collins. It would later be determined that it would be Armstrong to be the first to land on the Moon. The Saturn V rocket was launched at the Kennedy Space Center on the 16th of July, 1969. On approaching the Moon, Armstrong had to take manual control of the lunar module, safely landing on the Moon's surface on the 20th of July, 1969. Leaving the lunar module just after stepping off the ladder, he was to say the now famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Aldrin would then follow him 19 minutes later. Neil Armstrong's later life would include a professorship of aerospace engineering at the University of Cincinnati, NASA commissions, and being the spokesman for several businesses. In 1985, he would partake in an expedition to the North Pole. On August the 25th, 2012, he developed complications after bypass surgery and died in the hospital. He was buried on the 14th of September 2012. Neil Armstrong is considered a true American hero who inspired many future generations. He is the prime example of just how far our species can push the boundaries of exploration, and will forever be remembered as the first man on the moon.